Have you ever been in a situation where you feel a woman is interested in you, but she never says it clearly? She gives you mixed signals. One day she is warm, next day she is distant. One moment she cares, next moment she acts like you don't exist. And you keep asking yourself, does she really like me, or am I wasting my time? If you've ever felt this, then listen carefully because today I'm going to help you understand what is really going on in her mind and how you can respond like a confident, mature, high-value man. Let's start with something very common. You send her a message, she reads it, she sees it instantly, but she replies 3 hours later, 6 hours later, sometimes the next day, and immediately your mind starts working. Did I say something wrong? Is she ignoring me? Does she even care? No. Most of the time she is doing this on purpose. Not because she doesn't like you, but because she doesn't want to look desperate. She wants to appear busy. She wants to feel in control. And here is where many men fail. They panic, they send more messages, they double text, they beg for attention, and without knowing it, they destroy attraction. Because attraction grows in space, not in pressure. Strong men understand this. They respect time, they respect boundaries, they don't chase. Now, let's talk about teasing. Sometimes she makes fun of you. She jokes about your clothes, your accent, your habits, your lifestyle. At first, you might feel uncomfortable. You might think, why is she disrespecting me? But look deeper. She is giving you attention. She is investing energy. She is emotionally involved. If she didn't care, she wouldn't tease you. She wouldn't talk. She would disappear. Teasing is flirting in disguise. So don't react emotionally. Smile. Respond with confidence. Play along. Show her that you are secure in yourself. Now comes a tricky one. She talks about other men. She says, a lot of guys like me. Someone asked me out yesterday. I have so many options. Why does she do this? To test you. She wants to see, will you feel threatened? Will you feel insecure? Will you try to compete? If you get jealous, you lose power. If you get angry, you show weakness. A confident man stays calm. He knows his value. He doesn't need to prove anything because real confidence is silent. Now, let's talk about hot and cold behavior. 1 week, she texts you every day. She calls you, she cares, she shares personal things. Next week, nothing. Dry replies, short answers, no effort. You feel confused, you feel frustrated. But understand this. This usually means she is emotionally unsure. She is attracted, but she is afraid. She is thinking too much. She is fighting her own feelings. And your job is not to fix her confusion. Your job is to stay stable. Don't beg. Don't complain. Don't change yourself. Consistency builds trust. Sometimes she starts asking deep questions. What do you want in life? Where do you see yourself in 5 years? What kind of partner do you want? These questions are important. She is checking your mindset, your maturity, your seriousness. She wants to know, is this man reliable? Is he emotionally stable? Is he future-oriented? So, don't joke here. Don't lie. Speak honestly. Speak with clarity. That builds respect. Sometimes she gets jealous, but she hides it. She says, "Oh, that girl was nice. Who is calling you?" But acts normal. Jealousy is a sign of emotional attachment. It means she cares, but she doesn't want to look weak. So, don't make her insecure on purpose. Don't play games. Respect her feelings. That makes you different from other men. Sometimes she creates small drama, small arguments, small misunderstandings, sudden mood changes. Why? Because she wants emotional engagement. She wants to feel connected. She wants to feel important. If you overreact, you lose control. If you stay calm, you gain respect. Strong men don't argue to win. They communicate to understand. Now, let me tell you something important. These behaviors are not manipulation. They are emotional expressions. Women feel deeply. They think emotionally. They protect their hearts. So, when they like someone, they become careful. They test, they observe, they analyze. And here is where most men fail. They focus only on getting her. They forget about becoming better. High V value men focus on growth. They work on their health, they build skills, they improve communication, they build careers, they control emotions, they have goals, they have discipline, they have purpose. And when you live like this, you don't need to impress. Your life speaks for you. Here is the truth. Attraction is a byproduct. It is not something you chase. It happens when you become valuable. When you respect yourself, others respect you. When you believe in yourself, others believe in you. Let me give you a simple rule. Never make a woman the center of your life. Make your mission the center. Make your growth the center. Make your character the center. Women are attracted to men with direction, not men with desperation. And finally, remember this. Your value is not decided by how many people like you. Your value is decided by how strong you are mentally, by how disciplined you are, by how honest you are, by how consistent you are. Become that man, and relationships will become easier, not harder. Thank you. There's something almost no one talks about. When a woman hurts a genuinely good man, the pain doesn't end with him. Most people assume she moves on easily, that she replaces him, that she forgets. But psychology tells a very different story because hurting a good man is not the same as hurting just any man. A toxic man can be justified. A careless man can be blamed. A disrespectful man can be dismissed. But a good man, he becomes a mirror. And that mirror is what she fears most. Here's the truth most men never realize. When a woman walks away from a good man or pushes him away, the first thing she feels isn't relief. It's cognitive dissonance. Her mind starts fighting itself. He was kind. He treated me well. He didn't deserve that. But she left anyway. Or she sabotaged it. Or she chose chaos over calm. And when those two realities collide, her identity starts to crack. Because now she has to ask herself a terrifying question. What does it say about me if I hurt someone who loved me correctly? That question doesn't go away easily. And this is where the first real fear begins. Not losing him, not being alone, but losing the image of herself as a good person. You see, most people build their identity around being fair, caring, loyal, but when she realizes she may have damaged someone who showed her patience and consistency, her nervous system doesn't just feel guilt, it feels exposure. And exposure is deeply uncomfortable. Now, here's where it gets deeper. If that good man stays calm, if he doesn't beg, if he doesn't attack her, if he simply walks away with dignity, that's when the second fear appears. Irreplaceability, because chaos can be replaced, drama can be recreated, excitement can be found again, but emotional safety, that's rare. And once she experiences it, then loses it, she understands its value too late. This is why sometimes you'll see something strange happen months later, maybe even years later. She checks your profile, she asks about you indirectly. She wonders if you've changed, not because she's bored, but because unresolved guilt keeps the story open in her mind. And here's the part nobody says out loud. The deeper you loved her without controlling her, the harder it is for her to rewrite the narrative. She can call you boring. She can say the spark was gone. She can convince herself she needed more, but her subconscious remembers how safe she felt. And safety leaves an imprint. Now listen carefully. There's a specific fear that hits hardest when she sees you improve. When she sees you calm, focused, stable, maybe even happier without her. That's when regret transforms into anxiety, because now she realizes something critical. You weren't the problem. And if you weren't the problem, then she has to confront her patterns. And confronting patterns is terrifying. It's easier to blame timing. It's easier to blame compatibility. It's easier to say it just wasn't meant to be. But when you level up quietly, when you don't chase, when you don't resent, you become living proof that she may have lost something rare. And losing something rare creates a specific psychological fear. I won't find that again. Not the butterflies, not the intensity, but the emotional maturity. Now, here's something even more subtle. A good man often represents stability, structure, long-term security. When she walks away from that, Her biggest hidden fear becomes time, because as months pass, as dating feels repetitive, as excitement turns shallow, she starts comparing, not consciously at first, but slowly. And comparison activates memory. Memory activates emotion, and emotion activates regret. But here's the paradox. She may never admit this, because admitting it would mean admitting she made a mistake. And pride protects the ego. So instead of saying, "I was wrong," she may say, "Nothing at all." And silence becomes her defense. Now, here's the twist most men never understand. The fear isn't always about losing you. Sometimes it's about you no longer wanting her. Because once a good man emotionally detaches, he rarely returns the same. And she knows that. She can feel when your energy changes, when you stop reacting, when you stop explaining, when you stop chasing clarity. And that emotional stillness feels heavier than anger ever could. Anger means you care. Calm indifference that feels permanent. And permanence is frightening. Let's go even deeper. There's a psychological phenomenon called loss aversion. Humans feel loss more intensely than gain. So when she realizes she lost someone who treated her with respect, patience, and presence, the brain magnifies that loss, especially if the next connection lacks depth. And here's the final layer most people avoid discussing. When she hurt a good man and he responded with dignity, she doesn't just lose him, she loses leverage, because she can't paint you as the villain. She can't justify her decision with your bad behavior. You become the standard, and standards are hard to escape. Now pause for a second. If this perspective is shifting how you see things, if you're starting to realize your value wasn't the issue, then this channel is built exactly for men who think deeper. Make sure you're subscribed, not for drama, for clarity. Because understanding psychology changes how you move through life. Now, let's continue. There's still one fear left, and it's the one that stays with her the longest. The final fear is this, that she